right, wonderful. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'd like to call the meeting, the TCFC meeting, to order at 9:35. Can I have a roll call, please?
Of course. President Cheryl Brown,
Present?
Vice President Judy Flores,
Present.
Director Laura Getchie, Director Wilmer Roberts,
Present.
and Director Jimmy Tabor.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. So item 2 on the agenda is consent agenda, and this is approval of the meeting minutes from the March 6, 2025 regular meeting and approval of the minutes for the March 12, 2025 special meeting.
I move to approve the consent agenda as is.
Is there-
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Is there anyone requesting to speak directly to the board?
No, ma'am, we don't, not for this, not, yes.
Okay.
No
thank
general
you.
speaking.
Thank you. Moving to item 4 on the agenda, action items. And action item A is resolution number TCFC 2025-11, and this is to improve inducing Grandview 620 Apartments, a new 300-unit multifamily residential complex, the projects, in collaboration with Marquise Residential Development LLC or an affiliate developer, located at approximately 10656 North FM 620, and other matters in connection therewith.
Yes, ma'am. We are very excited about this project.
Sorry, the door is not open to the public. And there's other people.
Just a little open the door.
Of course. Thank you, Sue Brown.
Okay, so sorry. Okay, so we are happy about this project. It's in an area that we have not yet been, had the opportunity to develop. We have Jarrett Sullivan here with CWS. He's provided he has a presentation for us. We're going to have him come to the front and provide you a brief overview of the project.
Good morning,
Board.
welcome.
Thank you for having me. Okay, so we are referring to this project as Grandview 620, and just as a matter of clarification, I'm with CWS Capital Partners and CWS Apartment Homes, locally based multifamily investment management company. Our developer affiliate is called Marquis Residential Development, which is on the agenda. This site is located in northwest Travis County, in proximity to the intersection of 620 and Anderson Mill. As you can see in the foreground of the first slide on the aerial photo here, it's just about a quarter mile south of the Plaza Valente Shopping Center, where the HEB Plus sits. So just to get everyone oriented, the property is on the west side of 620, about a quarter mile to half a mile south of 620 and Anderson Mill. And we can go to the next slide. Here's a table of contents for the presentation. We'll start with a site location map on the next slide. Zooming out a bit, just to get everyone oriented again, this is northwest Travis County, in proximity to 4 Points and 620 and Anderson Mill, approximately 2.5 miles southwest of Lakeline Mall, not too far from the interchange of 183 and 45. We can go to the next slide. This is a conceptual site plan for the project. The property is approximately 10 acres in size. It's a rectangular parcel, much longer than it is wide. We're conceptualizing about 300 units. And that's what this plan shows is exactly 300 units. All 4-story buildings with elevators. Each building will have an elevator. As you can see, we've got Multiple courtyard spaces, green spaces accessible to each building. One of those will house a resort-style swimming pool area. The other courtyards are up for design. We can incorporate things such as dog parks in those, playgrounds, etc. Interior amenity space is going to be at the front of the property, closest to 620. You can see there's a hatched area just planned east of the pool. There's approximately 9,000 square feet of interior amenity space programmed at the moment. Got a breakdown of the unit mix overall for the 300 units and the list for the design team involved in the project at this time. We can go to the next slide if there's no questions. Okay, so highlighting some of the community amenities, I have some recent photos of projects within 5 to 10 miles of this property that we have been developed by CWS within the last 12 months, and actually one that's still under construction. We intend to, like I said, have the resort-style pool area similar to what you see on the screen. We talked about the multiple private courtyard spaces, outdoor green space. We'll have a nice large fitness center with a private spin room inside and state-of-the-art fitness equipment similar to what you see in the photo. We always incorporate dog parks and even dog wash stations into our projects. And inside the dedicated clubhouse area, we'll have a resident kitchen, TV lounge, game room. We call it a business center, but kind of a e-lounge, private workspace, some semi-private co-working spaces available, conference room. Okay, next slide, please. Mentioned the game room. There's a photo of the game room at a property we're building called the Everett, which is actually adjacent to the Plaza Valente Shopping Center, under construction right now, just a quarter mile away from the subject property. And in the bottom of the slide, we've got the club room at a property called the Wyatt that was just recently completed, just a mile or so east of Parmer and 45. Next slide, please. Some more photos. We've got a photo of a recent dog park that we delivered, and an interior dog wash station in the bottom of the slide with multiple stations. Next slide, please. Now for the unit amenities. The photos here will give you a good idea of the type of unit finishes we'd be proposing for this property. Like I mentioned, there'll be elevator access for all units in all buildings. Quartz and granite countertops, likely a mix of 2 unit finish schemes. Probably 2 cabinet colors, 2 countertop colors, all same stainless steel appliance package throughout. Walk-in closets with wood shelving, ceramic tile surrounds in bathrooms, around the bathtubs and showers, and undermount stainless sinks.
Jared, we're gonna need you to speed up just a tad.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, yeah, we'll go to the next slide, please. Okay, just a couple more photos for everyone to see. We can go to the next one. Site location and proximity to education. We're in Leander Independent School District, highly desired school district. The elementary school serving the property would be Grandview Hills Elementary, approximately 5 minutes to the south along 620. 4 Points Middle School and Vandergrift High School are about 11 minutes away, just to the south. Next slide, please. Nearby employers are numerous. Great proximity to, like I said, Lakeline, Domain, Apple, even Dell. Next slide, please. We've got some detail on transportation lines here. Closest Cat Metro stations along Anderson Mill, in addition to noting the Lakeline Station Park and Ride to the northeast. Next slide, please. Rent comparables in the area, all brand new lease-ups that we'd be comparing ourselves to. Next slide, please. And then just some recent project photos of prior developments, which you've seen a number of already, but we can skip through each of these briefly, please.
Yeah. So if we could get to the breakdown on the number of units and how those units are priced, if you could share that, I think that's what
Okay.
the board would be interested
I
in.
think that's going to be in the board packet backup. Yeah,
Right.
Not in the presentation.
not in the presentation.
Okay.
Yes.
And-
My-
Could you just provide an overview,
Understanding.
just of the breakdown for the
Yeah.
board?
The affordability breakdown.
Absolutely, yes. So in total, 50% of the units would be income and rent restricted, and in total 30% at 80% AMI and 20% at 60%. So all 150 units out of 300 in total.
Is there any discussion?
I'm just pleased to finally see something on the west side of town, and it's delighted to have you all on board with this presentation, because over the years, that's something that I've always wanted to do, because we have a lot of indigent people that are spending 8 to 12 hours a day in transportation back and forth to get to work and work out there, and so they need something to be out there, and I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
We do have someone on the line if someone had any questions. We're fine.
Summer, is there anything you'd like to share with the board?
Yeah, I would just like to highlight on this project that you've got, as far as your financial terms go, this deal is on the typical Travis County Facilities Corporation terms, with the exception of one item, which would be at the subsequent sales of the project. So if you'll remember, on your initial sale, you received 15% of the net proceeds. On this deal, on subsequent sales, normally you would receive 2% of gross. On this one, what they proposed is 1.5%. And the reason for that is because of the issues with the market right now with equity pricing as well as the interest rates. So in order to attract capital needed to get this project across the finish line, we've had to adjust our terms somewhat. So that's the only thing that I'd like to highlight for you guys to be aware of. Otherwise, all of your terms are exactly the same as your other deals.
All right, thank you. And I will add to the board that the real estate committee did meet to review this prior to it being brought to the board. So is there a motion to approve resolution number TCFC 2025-11?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jared.
All right, moving on to item number 5. This is the regular agenda. Item A, we have guests here today. This is the UT Law School that's coming forward to do a presentation.
Oh, we need another chair.
We have two.
There's two. Patrick.
Oh, there's two? Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
And I do want to say we did give you all 20 minutes to do this presentation.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Well, I just want to start off by saying good morning and thank you so much for having us here. My name is Anna Rose Habine and this is Elizabeth Blackford. We are law students at the University of Texas School of Law's Housing Policy Clinic, and we prepared this research and presentation on behalf of BASTA, Building and Strengthening Tenant Action, a nonprofit that I'm sure some of y'all know about and are aware of, and is doing great things in the community. So just thank you again for having us here, and with that, we'll jump into the project. So this is a 2-semester-long project that's building off of a prior research project done by the clinic on junk fees. Next slide, please. And this is just a brief overview of our table of contents. Next slide, please. And so this is just a breakdown of some of our key findings. So this applies to these TEPs, which actually we can get to, and if we skip forward, I believe it's 2 slides, please. Perfect, thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, so starting first with what is a tax-exempt private partnership property, or a TEP property for short, and that's what this whole report centers around. It is an apartment complex owned by a local government entity in partnership with private developers or investors, and it receives a 100% property tax exemption under the Texas Local Government Code. Next slide, please. And so just briefly going over what our goals were with this project, starting first with identifying the total number of TEP properties in Travis County, as well as their impact on the property tax base. And then after that, we looked to understand what public benefits the local governmental entities require in exchange for the tax breaks that they receive. And lastly, we sought to identify opportunities for more uniform local policies. Next slide, please. And we can skip this slide. This is just focusing on the different entities that we looked at and which ones we did not look at for various reasons, either because they weren't making deals in the community. And we can skip through all of these. Sorry, it looks like this is the full slide deck. We do have a condensed one that we were planning to present today, so sorry about all of the skipping back and forth. But we can skip through these charts. So we can skip ahead, yes, perfect, to research findings.
And so this is the general areas of research. We first looked at the impact on the tax base, as well as what affordability looked like in terms of rents and mandatory recurring fees. And then we looked at access issues related to vouchers and low-income tenants. And then finally, eviction filing rates and eviction mitigation efforts and policies. Next slide, please. Thank you. And so just beginning with this landscape across Travis County, and now this is looking at the 5 main entities in this area. So there's about 131 apartment complexes that are considered these TEPs in Travis County right now, and that equates to about $101 million in decreased taxes or tax loss. That's either shifted tax burden or loss overall to school districts. Next slide, please. And one thing to note is that there are many more developments in the pipeline, and so there's a lot of work that can be done for future projects in this area. And so we did break down by each entity, and we have Housing Authority of Travis County, and so when we evaluated those policies for TCFC, which is what we housed under HATC, we were doing this as of 2024, so only one project, or excuse me, one property was leasing, and then 2 were under construction. So most of our examples are from that one property currently that was operating. Next slide, please.
So turning now to unaffordable rents and junk fees. We identified in our project a lack of affordable rents, and specifically applicable here is not including utility allowances and rent limits. I do believe that there are policies in place for the other 2 bullet points there, and then in addition to that, some hidden and problematic fees. So fees that are not disclosed up front or not included in these rent limits. And then in addition to that, allowing tenants to be evicted for late payment or non-payment of fees. Next slide, please. And so looking at this across entities, as I said, you can see that Housing Authority of Travis County does have policies for some of these, but overall there is some room for improvement across entities. And next slide, please. And we can skip over this one. Okay, so now the fee policy, as you can see on this chart, there is a lot of red, so there's a lot of room that we believe there's room for improvement on these policies, specifically with fee policies. So including these fees in the rent limits and requiring upfront disclosure, barring eviction for late or non-payment of fees, and then as well a cap on fees are all things to be considered. Next slide, please. And just an example of this, why this fee limit matters. So if you're looking at the base rent for a one-person household at 60% AMI, that would be capped at $1,323. But if you add in utilities and other fees on top of that, that pushes up the total amount that a tenant would be paying each month for rent. And that would put the tenant above a third of their income going towards rent and housing costs each month. Next slide, please. And then another thing that we identified that we wanted to touch on is that generally, apart from Strategic Housing Finance Corporation, there was not a policy at these entities to have a public benefits threshold. So Strategic Housing is the sole entity that we saw did this, and they are kind of a leader in this area. And they required the total projected rent discounts must equal 60% of the value abated from taxes to ensure that these units do stay affordable. And we can skip ahead 2 slides.
And so addressing access barriers, we looked at access barriers to voucher holders and to low-income tenants across these TEPs across Travis County. And these were the general areas that we examined, whether or not voucher discrimination was prohibited in general, whether there was minimum income policies. And for this first section of voucher holders, this is actually something that TCFC does already for all of its future PFC deals under the new statutory requirements. So we recognize that most of those voucher issues are actually just past property developments that have that from before the statutory change. And so moving towards these income barriers for low-income tenants, some of the areas that we examined was whether there was advertising of affordability, whether there was high upfront costs that were above what the actual costs of running background checks or application examinations were, and then as well as high security deposits and at some of these entities non-refundable security deposit options. And when I say options, I mean that for tenants or applicants with low credit history or no credit or no rental history, they were requested to pay fees, sometimes upwards of $500, $600, that were non-refundable opportunity fees. And while we didn't see that at any of TCFC's properties, thankfully, we just wanted to make you aware of some of the actions that certain developers may be taking in that area. Next slide, please. And so this is the breakdown of these voucher policies at TEP properties. And like I said, TCFC Housing Authority of Travis County is doing great in this area. Next slide, please. And this is kind of how this has been breaking down. So we recognize there's only one property, and currently this property is passed prior to the statutory requirements, so they do bar voucher holders, so there are no voucher holders at that property. But again, that's a kind of a past-looking examination. Next slide, please.
Okay, so turning now to eviction mitigation policies and filing rates. In our research, we found that as a general matter, the filing rate for eviction at TEP properties was higher than the countywide average, with all rental properties being at about 4.5%, and then at TEP properties, it was about 5.7%. Next slide, please. And so looking at this by entity, we wanted to highlight for the one Housing Authority of Travis County property, it was sitting at about a 10% filing rate for 2024, which is towards the higher end of the entities that we looked at. But again, we do recognize that the total rental units, it's a smaller sampling size, so there's higher fluctuations there. Next slide, please. And then we can skip over this because there are no top 10 evictor properties with Housing Authority of Travis County, which is a great thing to see. Some of these properties were upwards of 30% filing rates, so that is very concerning and definitely something to watch. Next slide, please. And overall, when we were looking at these eviction mitigation policies, we did find that there was a general lack of comprehensive eviction mitigation policies. And some of these include, for example, a 30-day notice requirement, a good cause requirement for eviction, a right to cure, and then policies requiring the creation of a eviction mitigation plan. And this is kind of a new and rapidly developing area, so there are a bunch of different policy solutions being suggested, but generally a lot of these have not been adopted. Next slide, please. And in our research, actually, the only entity that has adopted these policies is Austin Housing Finance Corporation. Next slide, please.
And so moving into kind of some general recommendations that address these different areas we looked into. So overall, a recommendation is to ensure that these public benefits are aligned with the tax breaks that are being offered, specifically by looking at this public benefit threshold and these policies areas off to the side. So ensuring affordable rents, ensuring that mandatory recurring monthly fees are not bumping up those rental limits and increasing them without it being included in rent limits, as well as removing any barriers for low-income tenants, providing, again, that public benefit threshold analysis, and then mitigating eviction. Next slide, please. And so here we have some really detailed breakdowns of all of the different areas. Most of them are based on the areas that we examined. So, for example, these are the 3 areas that we had looked at for affordable rents. Next slide, please. And next slide, one more. And so this is that, again, that public benefit threshold. And so setting at least some certain percentage, SHFC, Strategic Housing Finance Corporation, uses 60%, but really setting any threshold to examine whether market rents will actually be decreasing and what they're currently at for acquisition projects and things like that. Next slide, please. And as far as eviction mitigation policies, so there are the 2 main areas. One is to look into some of these ROTA-Lease addendum policies, so requiring that 10-day notice to cure, good cause for non-renewal, and really working with tenants, and this ties into the next slide actually, working with tenants to ensure that there's a discussion going on between management and tenants so that there aren't unnecessary eviction filings, and that if issues can be resolved, if a tenant is able to pay in, say, 10 days, that money is given over, the tenant's given that opportunity to pay, and the landlord can also be made whole. So really a beneficial situation for everyone in cases like that. Next slide, please. And this kind of just touches on to some of those areas, allowing payment plans, really just common sense and reasonable both side negotiation capabilities and meetings. Next slide, please.
And we did notice, I'm not seeing the slide in here, so it must have gotten missed at some point, but we did notice with the eviction policies, the eviction mitigation policies, as I had said earlier, Austin Housing Finance Corporation was the only entity that did have these policies in place that were mandatory at their properties. And their eviction rate was significantly lower than the countywide average. I believe theirs specifically was about 2.8%, and for all of the TEP properties that had the ROTA-Lease addendum, which provides these protections, it was also lower than the county average I believe around 4%. So these policies are correlated with lower eviction rates overall. And this is also an opportunity to potentially save, some money overall. There is research, we didn't go too deep into it, but there is research that preventing these eviction filings can actually save money overall because that court process is very lengthy and expensive.
Next slide, please. And one more, please. Thank you. So this is actually that slide that kind of indicates those different protections and how they play out in those eviction filing rates per unit. Next slide, please. And so the last thing that we wanted to touch on is really the most key recommendation to all of these and making any of these recommendations were you wanting to implement them work. And that is just really adopting a uniform policy across all of these TEPs, working with other entities in the area to raise up the floor and allow you all and all these other entities to adopt policy recommendations without feeling that you're just going to drive away developers, that they're going to go to some other entity. And with some of the statutory changes, really raising up this floor, I know that, for example, you all have already adopted those protections for voucher holders while some other entities haven't. And so those are some areas where if all entities are able to adopt those sorts of things, developers won't be feeling like they have a win by going to another entity. And so really raising up this floor and raising all the boats at the same time. And we do welcome questions at this time and just want to say thank you again so much for having us here today.
I have a question about one of your initial slides, which was one bedroom, 1323, plus utilities and other fees. Is there a mechanism or a provision or a suggestion about how to fill that gap other than to get all of these entities working together? Because these numbers are not defined locally, right? So how I don't even know if you've gotten to the proposal stage of what that might be, but I'm just wondering if you guys have ideas about how to cover that gap.
Yeah, so the LIHTC program does have these requirements, so adopting something similar here would, meet that need. So LIHTC does require a utility allowance and for mandatory fees to be included, so following that model at the local level could be an option.
Okay.
And I think LIHTC also has a similar provision for application and administrative fee costs where they hold the fee costs for these application fees at the cost of running the background checks and evaluating the applications rather than it being able to be set at any uncapped amount.
Any other questions from anyone?
I just have one other question. When you're talking about the public benefit threshold at 60% that SHFC is using, can you define that a little bit more, what that means?
Yes, so this one you want me to. So currently they take the estimated appraised value of this property, of the new property, evaluate the estimated abated taxes, and then compare that to what the current market rent in the area is and how that will compare in practical terms to 80% or 60% AMI. And so in some areas we actually found it's other TEPs for other entities that their market rent units, their non-restricted units,
it was something that we noted, at least a lack of reduced rents in some cases, even if they were being held at these unit amounts.
I have a question about the tenants that are receiving eviction notice and whether or not you looked at the duration of time that those tenants have not paid their rent and did a comparison to see change in the reading of the order for providing the eviction notice?
We were not able to find any overall policies on the entity side, but we did call some apartment complexes, definitely not all of them, but apartment complexes who asked about their eviction policies, and most of these were informal policies. Some entities let us know that they would, for example, work with rental assistance or accept payment plans up to certain points. Some did not accept partial payments or payment plans. But one thing, we weren't unfortunately able to look into the exact reasons and ultimate conclusions for most of these entities, purely able to apply filing rates at the broader county level, just based on the data that we had. But we did note that those that had ROTA eviction policy, mitigation policies did have lower filing rates overall.
And so just one additional thing to add on to that, with one of the charts that we looked at, that was the filing rates by entities. So some of the properties we talked to did have these informal policies, but when you look at that chart, it ended up resulting in a wide range where some properties had very low filing rates and some of them under the same entity had incredibly high, around 30%. So that's part of the reason why we are advocating for entity level uniform policies to prevent this disparity and try to overall lower eviction rates.
And a question with regards to, have you presented this to the legislature and see what their thoughts are? And what's your feedback from there?
We have not presented this to the legislature, but we are aware of some legislation that is working its way through the legislature this session on this issue.
Okay. Well, thank you, ladies, so much. We appreciate all of your hard work.
Thank you
And
again.
Thanks for sharing the information. All right, moving on to item B under agenda item 5, regular agenda. This is the financial report as of March 31st, 2025.
Yes, good morning. So the financials are on page, let's see, page 47 of the board packet. And really, I don't have much to highlight other than as of March 31st, the TCFC cash balance is 2.8 million, and the set aside is 5.4 million, and both of these balances are pretty much at this time, they are pretty much obligated. The 5.4 million is pretty much 4 million is obligated to Belmont, 2 million is obligated to Belmont, and another 2 million is obligated to Cameron. And we still have ongoing construction at Carson Creek and Maynard Town 2 that will be funded from these funds. The TCFC 2.8 million, we have the current budget where we are withdrawing funds, on a monthly basis to fund the central office and to support the programs.
So, Super, how much have we gone over our budget for the Carlson Creek project?
As far as the construction contract, it's progressing. I don't believe there's any significant change order, but on the soft costs, we have had to extend the stay for the tenants. That has gone over because their stay has been extended. Let me see. That would be in the HATC budget.
Okay.
HATC
We can
report.
cover that in the next meeting. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do it in the next
But I
meeting.
should be able to tell you here. Let's see. cost increase, yeah. So far, on the relocation cost, we are over by $100,000 because we have had to extend, we had to extend their stay, their temporary relocation because, things kind of got delayed. That's what we wanted.
Sure. So that's partially the reason for the overrun. Some of it was because of having to identify some locations that were more than we had estimated. Residology was one of them. So it's not all contributed to the delay. Some of it is, however, the costs were just more than we had anticipated, just based on market conditions with the Airbnbs that we had to utilize for the relocation.
The city has been horrible with regards to clearing permits. It took us 9 months to get a permit approved.
And Carlos will go into a little more of a deep dive on that
Yeah, we'll
at the
talk
Housing
about
Authority
it.
meeting. But
Yes.
the overruns are contributed to, it's a couple of different factors related to that.
Okay, we'll go into details there. Thank you. Are there any other questions for Subra? All right, moving on to item number 7 on the agenda. And is there a reason for an executive session? All right. And now moving on to item number 8, and we just need to change the number of that on the agenda because it's noted as 6 when it should be, well, we need to switch the order, right? So executive session should be item 6, and then adjournment is item 7. Okay,
I move to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.